Well, hi folks, another sort of 10-day roundup. It's going to be pretty similar to all the rest, but there's not a lot else I can do, so I'll just give you a quick zip round, show you how things have progressed since in the last 10 days. These are the peppers, these are those long ones. As you can see, I'm just starting to get the first fruit forming. That's the sort of shape they are, and they should get to about 9 inches long. The oxhorn ones, the normal ones there, and some more oxhorn. They're really tall this year for some reason. Really tall. So far so good on the peppers. Having a few problems with the odd tomato. If you can see this truss of Shirley's here, they're all sort of shriveled up and just dropped off. I think they call it dry set. That's when it's been really too hot and too dry, and instead of setting fruit, the flower buds just drop off. So when it's really hot and dry, the ideal thing is just to give your greenhouse a little bit of a damping down with some water, get the humidity up. But we've got a few trusses set now, and a big weed there, and on the other one, but they're not looking too brilliant. I'm putting it down, like I said last time, to this compost. It's absolutely atrocious. I don't know what it's made of. I won't be using that stuff again anyway. So tomatoes, yeah, and that's another one. That's the top of the Gardener's Delight, all shriveled up. Looks a bit sinister. Anyway, we'll see how they progress. Cucumbers, this is the one they had that time-lapse camera on. That's the size of them now. They're not the most beautiful, they've got a bit of a scar there, but perfect size. And there's plenty more coming all the way along. Like I said, I used to be the world's worst cucumber grower, but someone said what you should do is not water them so much, because I was an overwaterer. So now I keep it quite dry, let it almost dry out before I water it, and like I said, just keep it on the dry side, and I've had a bit more success since I started doing that. The tumbling tomatoes, if you can see there, we've got the first almost ripe one, and absolutely hundreds come in, and that's just in a small pot, and I just leave it to its own devices just to spread about. So I think I'll grow a lot more of those next year, so because they just seem to be so idiot proof. And I've taken a few side shoots off and just repotted them, just stuck them in some compost, so when they root, hopefully I can just make a few more free plants like growing those on. So that's the greenhouse. Like I said, nothing much happening. Things are getting a bit riper and growing a bit, but that's about it. I'll just nip up to the plot and I'll have a quick zip round there. Well, hi folks, here I am up at the plot, so I'll just give you a very quick blast round, show you what things are how things are doing. As you can see, the peas are really flying up now, about 3 foot tall, getting the first pea flowers on. So we should have a few pods forming shortly, so that's good, because I had a bit of a bad start with these, if you can remember. The garlic's doing really well now. I gave it a bit of an extra feed the other day with some Vitax Q4, which is a higher potash fertiliser. Hopefully get the bulbs swelling a bit, because they'll be growing now in the next sort of 6 weeks before I harvest them. So a bit of extra potash will always help get the bulbs a little bit bigger. Cabbages, I can't see them now. They're all that close together. They're growing that well. These are the early Savoys. Now there's a big worry about these moths, these diamondback moths everywhere in the country now apparently, which there's nothing you can do about. Even the farmers can't spray, so hopefully they're not big enough to fly through that mesh and we don't get affected by them. The red cabbages, always slower to grow, but grow a lot longer into the season, so they're fine. The banana shallots just starting to grow a bit now. They were slow, but they seem to be perking up, which is a good thing. And the lettuce just getting bigger and bigger. I'm taking them, but they're that big. One of them lasts about a week, so been really good this year though. And considering how much rain we had in the last week, they're just not affected by the slugs either, so they're a good variety. The potatoes and things, these are the blue Danube, lovely little flowers. A lot taller plant than the rest. It's really shot up, that one. It's about 3 foot tall, so they're the blue Danube sarpos. These are the normal sarpos. Really grown now since we had some rain and I topped the pots up. The Jerusalem artichoke gets taller and taller. It's about what now? Belly button tall, so about 4 foot tall maybe. So that'll be interesting to see how they get on. And the tallest of the lot are the first earlies, the Nicola and Charlottes in pots. So by the time the ones in the greenhouse are finished, which will probably be in about 2 weeks, these should be ready to take, because if you see, these have got some flowers coming as well, which is a sign that there should be some potatoes forming. I put a spare giant marrow in the corner of this bed. and some of these spare giant runner beans. So they're all going to have to fight for the nutrients in there, and we'll see what we get. I'm not expecting anything, but we'll see. I'll just give you a quick look around this other bit. These are all the heat treated onion sets that I planted. As you can see, they're just starting to bulb now. It's the longest day today, so it'll probably stop growing any more leaves, and then the bulb should just start swelling. So no bolt as yet. None of them gone to seed, so that's as they were supposed to do, which is good, because I've had some pretty disastrous results in the last few years. So that's the onions, heat treated. I'll definitely be growing those again. The giant marrows just about coming out the end of the cloches now. If I get in. So it's about 8 foot long, so it'll have to fend for itself in a bit once it outgrows it. It's right at the end now. As you can see, I'm burying the vine as we go along with soil, and what it does, it roots at these leaf nodes here into the soil. So you bury the whole stem with soil, and it'll take root all along the length of the vine, so you get more roots for your plant, and they can get more energy out of the soil. That's the other one in there. Same thing, that's just about at the end, so it'll have to fend for itself. Might have to put a bit of windbreak up, but so far so good. It's about as big as I've ever grown them at this stage, so hopefully we get a decent sized one this year. So we'll finish off in the polytunnel as usual, where things are doing really well. The onions, couldn't be more happy. I'll just show you the first one there. They're the little predatory mites that I bought in sachets to help kill the thrips. It seems to have kept them under control because there's not been a lot more damage. I'll just go over here, I'll just show you them. That's the biggest one there. What's that there? Oh, that's what I'm pinning my hopes on this year, I think, this one. It's the biggest of the lot, so if nothing goes awry, then we should get a decent one, but so far so good. And we've got a few decent ones in the beds as well. There's one here which has got the world's biggest leaves. I don't know whether I can get any perspective. The thickness of these leaves is just ridiculous, look. And the length, honestly, it's about head height, that one. So that plant is absolutely enormous. The leaves on it are just ridiculous. So if it swells up as big as the leaves get, then who knows, we might get an absolute stonker, but we'll see. Anyway, the French beans, as you can see, they've all got right to the top of the canes. I've stuck this cane along. I'll have to spend a bit of time just tying these canes in and just training them round. Probably won't be able to see this, not very good. And then there you go, that's no good, is it? I'll tie them on anyway. But I think we've got some French beans on, some beans coming, if I can root them out. The first ones there, look. The first little tiny ones coming, so once they start coming they don't seem to stop, so that's a good sign. Loads of flowers on, so loads of beans to come. I might put the time-lapse camera on the beans because they only take about 3 days to grow. That should be quite interesting. So I've got my time-lapse camera on the courgettes at the moment, so that should be quite interesting, watching the flowers open and the courgettes growing. But unfortunately, because it's been that dull and wet at the moment, they've not got pollinated, so they're actually not growing. They're getting to that size there and not growing any bigger because there's no insects to pollinate. That's the male flower there. That needs to pollinate that for that to grow, and if they don't get pollinated they just stay at that size and just drop off. So hopefully if we get a bit of sun, we'll get a bit more insect life, and then they should start swelling. Right, just another quick last bit. The carrots, I've never known them as tall, they are looking ridiculous now. They're about 18 inches tall, so whether they're going to be any good or not this year, I don't know. They usually do grow quite tall, but I've honestly never seen them get that tall. Same thing with the long carrots. They aren't too bad. They're not as lanky, but the other ones are just ridiculous. And then the giant tomatoes. Still in search of one of these mega blooms, which is a lot of fused flowers. Not found one yet. Looking at that one, no, it doesn't seem to be any mega blooms on that either. So maybe not, unless that one is. That might be a mega bloom there. Looks a lot thicker and there's a lot of stuff going on. We'll see anyway. It's only a laugh. If they don't work, they don't work. It's just got loads of tomatoes to eat. And then finally the giant carrots, absolutely massive. Top growth anyway. tons of growth. Kept them under the polythene to keep the moisture in, because I've got a tendency to, when things dry out, to really water them, and that's not what you want, because a great surge in water can tend to make them split. So I thought, keep them uniformly moist, and that'll be the way to go. So that's about it, folks. Just a quick roundup. All the same as last time, unfortunately. It's a bit tedious, I know. So that's about it. The longest day, the longest night. Bit of blue sky coming out. So that's about it, folks. See you later.